This is definitely a weird feeling right now. For those of you who have been with me from the start, you'll know that I essentially came up on YouTube as a Brockhampton stan account. I'm not saying that if they didn't exist that I would have never grown my own platform, but me making videos about each member of the band going on 5 years ago now, that is how I grew my platform. And while I haven't really listened to them in a while, I didn't care when the latest album dropped, I'm just not the fan of them that I once was. This is still oddly emotional for me. This is not some organized video essay dissecting the rise and fall of Brockhampton. This is more of a diary entry, reacting to the news and getting some things off my chest. More than anything, I think their whole trajectory and where they've ended up is just sad and disappointing. You can't help but think what could have been with so many different aspects of their story. That initial spark that they had when the music videos for Saturation 1 were dropping with Face, Heat, Gold, Star, and Lamb, that was lightning in a bottle. The amount of hype that I had listening to these unbelievable songs, reveling in the awe of this collective and all of its moving parts, going back and learning the lore of Kevin's solo stuff, watching All American Trash, the origins of the group in general, that was a moment. This might sound dramatic and like I'm overreacting in hindsight, but I don't think I had been as excited for the rise of an artist, discovering them, watching them grow, and so on, since 2011, seeing Kendrick drop Section 80, Tyler and Haji going on Jimmy Fallon, etc. So in like 6+ years, in my opinion, this was the most exhilarating launch in music. And no matter what would come after, good or bad, in 2017, listening to Saturation over and over again, learning the musical personalities of each member, waiting for Saturation 2, then being completely in awe that they were able to do it again, then repeating the process until Saturation 3, and being completely in awe that they were able to do it again, all within the span of like 8 months, I can't even put into words what experiencing that was like. With the canceling, allegations for members beyond Ameer, the hype fizzling out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in general, recently a lot of people look at Brockhampton, their fans, and the fact that, ooh, I used to like them, isn't that so embarrassing? The group is sort of a meme now, right? Taking all of that stuff into consideration, I can't go without acknowledging how amazing that first year of the Saturation trilogy was. Genuinely some of the most high-quality albums of the late 2010s, some of the best rap albums of the 2010s, all the music videos and short films and everything, their whole sound became pretty influential, and they had plenty of copycats originate soon after, and so on and so on. But there was the time before Ameer got kicked out and after Ameer got kicked out. That's the way it is, and there's no way around that. At the time, I was hopeful that the band would be able to prosper and keep on making good music without him, which they did, let us be clear. Iridescence, Ginger, and Roadrunner are all above average albums, with each one featuring genuinely great songs. So it's not like Ameer leaving meant that they couldn't make good music anymore, because that is absolutely not the case. But still, there was the time before Ameer got kicked out and after Ameer got kicked out. In the past couple of days, I've been talking to friends about the whole situation, and the phrase that keeps coming up is wasted potential. It's easy to sit here and say, well, were they ever really gonna top Saturation 1, 2, and 3? How were they ever gonna be able to keep up that energy, chemistry, quality, innovation, and so on? But when it comes to musicians that really feel special, growth is typically the norm, right? Let's just use the examples that I had before. I watched Kendrick Lamar drop Section 80, thought he was special and the future of music, and so on. Then he somehow tops himself with Good Kid, Mad City, and I think he might be the greatest rapper ever. Then he tops himself with To Pimp a Butterfly, and yeah, he's probably the greatest rapper ever. When Tyler and Frank both came up, it was like, wow, these mixtapes are unbelievable and so unique, and then we kept watching them make stuff, and look at what they've ended up with. Not to say that anyone in Brockhampton is as special as Kendrick, Tyler, or Frank, but collectively, all of them together and what they were doing, the first thing I saw them do was the Saturation trilogy, and I think that's more impressive than Section 80, or Nostalgia Ultra. Yes, All American Trash came before then, but I'm talking about my own experiences and what I saw as their debut and what put them on the map, blah 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 blah. All of this is one big what if. I'm not saying that they would have gone on to make century-defining albums, but maybe they would have. We don't know what would have happened if the Ameer stuff didn't go down and that initial spark died. We don't know. And that's sad. That's what wasted potential is to me and why it keeps popping up. This is not to say that Ameer did not deserve getting kicked out and that all of the other members of the band that have allegations against them are great people. All I'm saying is, knowing how excited I was throughout 2017 and how special I knew all of this was, the fact that what happened and then nothing was ever quite the same, that sucks. They very well could have been this fluke thing that peaked with their debuts and stayed together happily for 20 years, making 30 mediocre albums, but we'll never know. I want to tell you this weird little story to help put everything into perspective for me. You know HK, Brockhampton's art guy that made the album covers and whatnot? I knew him long before 2017 and Brockhampton. Not that we were good friends or something, but I followed him on Twitter way back in 2012 when he went by HK Covers. He only had a few thousand followers, and he would post fan art covers for rappers like Drake, Kanye, and so on. A new album would drop, and I'd be pumped up waiting to see if HK would make a cover for it. When I saw Brockhampton live in some dingy basement in the fall of 2017, I talked with HK for like 10 minutes after the show, and we had this very real human moment of like, wow, look at how far you've come. This is so cool. And then ridiculous ups and downs, and years later, here we are. I think Brockhampton is the ultimate story of the music industry in the age of the internet. A bunch of kids from all across the country meeting on a Kanye fan forum, becoming the hottest thing in independent music, getting signed, then we as an audience watch them implode in real time due to problems with public perception, if that's what you want to call it. We see them try to continue to make their art, work with some absolute legends, and now what? It shows you how fleeting this can be, the power of what's possible in this time, and the ugliness of how you can be exposed once you're in the spotlight, and just how many roads there are in life. Kevin Abstract is obviously the most likely member to thrive as a solo act once the dust settles, and it's so weird thinking about how young these guys still are. Frank Ocean was about how old Kevin is now when he dropped Channel Orange, still years before Blonde. Same thing with Kendrick and Good Kid Mad City, still years before the age he was when he dropped To Pimp a Butterfly. I have no idea whether all of these guys are gonna fall off the map, if some of them will find success and others are gonna lose everything. We have no clue what's gonna happen. All I'm thinking about right now is how I felt in 2017, how much has happened in my own life since then, and how long ago all that feels now. Out of a love for theatrics, good poetry, and quoting things when they seem relevant, I will leave you with one of my favorite pieces of writing. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." I am unbelievably curious what everybody thinks of this, so comment down below with your opinions on Brockhampton in general, their story, what they made and where they've ended up, and everything. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.